Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Make Me Like This. I'm Brandon. We are here with Jeff and Roman, and this is a show about open-mindedness and becoming familiar with something that you might not already like, but maybe you will in time. Today, Roman's going to present a topic for us, and we're going to listen to him. So, Roman, what have you got?
Hello. Thank you for having me here again on this show that I'm a part of.
Very formal.
Yeah. So it's interesting because in thinking about topics, I was always like, it's food. How can you make someone like something that they're not eating? And I did not bring anything, but I did think about the overall thought on trying other cultures' foods. And if you ever are put in a situation where someone's like, hey, my grandma made this or my significant other made this and they're from a different culture and it's so great and I want you to try it, where do you go? Are you just like, well, gotta take this one for the team? Or do you kind of stand your ground and you're like, yeah, no, I don't eat yellow things, or stuff like that, or whatever. And what happens, right? Because I'm here to make you guys like all foods,
all different culture,
all different culture foods, or specifically for this, I guess this conversation is to make you like trying other things when it comes to foods when you don't know what they are.
Well, I think the first situation that you just talked about where like someone's like, oh, hey, my mom made this or my wife made this or I made this, I want you to try it. That feels like a situation you can't say, no, thank you. It looks yucky. Yeah. Right? You pretty much have to, right?
Well, but what if your reaction is like physically you're gagging?
Oh, I've done that.
Well, so what's the worst thing, right? Is it saying no thank you or oh yeah, thanks, and then throwing up?
So think of the limits of what you so you propose you said in general.
Yeah.
Someone says this is my grandma's recipe. She's dead. I miss her so much.
There's a whole other level.
If you eat,
disrespect my family.
eating this food is like she's here again.
Here's my dead grandma's cookies.
It's not my dead grandma. So.
No, but here's the pickle deal.
Okay.
Right.
Is this a thing? Pickled eel.
I don't know.
Okay, good.
I thought you were offering me a pickle deal.
A pickle deal.
See, that's why I had to.
So what I'm trying to figure out is you said something that I disagree with. If someone just says, "Hey, this is a special dish,"
right? Yeah.
If I'm in a company potluck, if it doesn't look good, I'm not touching it.
Yeah. But there's strength in numbers there. Like, not everyone's eyes are on every person at the same time, and you can abstain from the things that you don't want, and that's generally accepted. But if someone comes up to you specifically and says, "Jeff, I brought this from my home country and
at the
slaved
potluck
over it," no.
Are they at the potluck?
No, they're like in your face somewhere. Like they're on the street.
Well, what are the different situations?
So the other country thing, the other culture, and whatever. I'm much more likely to be, not because I care about pleasing you, but I'm like, yeah, I want to try that. Like,
right.
Yeah,
like Roman says, hey, like these are like, give me an example of something.
Pickled herring.
Yeah, I'm gonna try. Is that
that's a thing?
Is that specifically Ukrainian, or is it just something that you've had that you like?
Eastern Europe. It's common at the table for Eastern European family gatherings.
Then yeah, and then I want to know like, okay, what we doing for sides? How do we eat this? Right? Like, can I just
I had to bring more.
Is there no rules? Right? but also
pickled
like
herring and bread.
If I'm
like if you get water.
If I'm in New England, like I'm eating some sort of sea life, right? I'm eating crab, I'm eating lobster, we're doing a boil, whatever. Like for me, that kind of thing. Like if I'm either at the place or a person is bringing the place to me, I'm all about that. Especially the relationship I have with the person matters to me. Now, if it's just kind of like here's my, I'm from Cleveland, and here's my grandma's hot pot. I'm like, no, man.
Yeah.
Like, I'll look. Let me check out the hot pot, and it's greasy, and it's got way too much cheese on it, and whatever. And I'm not. I don't feel like I need to touch that.
Yeah.
Right.
How has that worked? Like, has that backfired for you?
Saying no?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I kind of felt like your description right now, like you kind of almost committed already by going, let me check it out. And then going, no, I don't actually want this. Like, have there been friendships lost because of this?
I guess I've got no. There's very few things that I won't eat, and so for this, it's kind of a slam. It's kind of a slam dunk. But like, as I've gotten more mindful about what I eat for health purposes, like, I'm not just going to eat your greasy dish that may or may not be good because you say, oh, it's awesome, right? I do know what it's like to have memories taste good, right? There was a situation where I took Roman to the bakery that made my wedding cake, and I was really excited about it. And Roman ate a bite and was like, meh. and so
I don't even recall that.
I know
that's how good it was.
And I didn't make that, right? So like I just laughed at him and was like, oh wow, that's like it was it could be perceived as insensitive, but I saw that as honest,
funny,
right? Funny, but also like no one can make me eat food that I don't want to eat.
Yeah.
And I see those situations as opportunities for me to choose to engage in something that is unique, new, and likely good. Like, if you're going to be hyping something up and it's something that I can't get anywhere else, I think that's a bit of it too, right? Like,
Sure.
Like, oh, this is this, and this person knows how to make it. Like, this is a bomb recipe. You're not going to be able to make this yourself, right? Or buy it at a go elsewhere. And this is authentic. When you're eating like this, you're eating like we would, and that's kind of like a window into experiencing someone else's life, right?
There's an interesting dynamic with you because you are both an adventurous eater, but you are also probably one of the least likely people that I know to change your personality under social pressure. You would not have any qualms about telling someone like, "Oh no, that looks gross. No, thank you."
Yeah.
Or like you.
That's not a problem for me.
For better or for worse, you are very direct and true to who you are, right? And I think that is an interesting, because when you're saying that to me, I immediately went to like, it looks gross, and someone's standing right in front of me, and they're really excited to have me try something that they worked on, and like I'm in this
Apparently
situation.
like this cake that I didn't like.
Some wedding cake. Why did you take him to go eat wedding cake?
Yeah,
we
where
were in
were we?
Muskegon, and for
You got married in Muskegon?
the bakeries in Muskegon. We got married in Whitehall, which is on the lake north of Muskegon. And the bakery has like a pretty was in walking distance of my father-in-law's house, because he grew up in Muskegon.
Oh, okay.
So he used to go there. The family story is like all the time, right? But it probably was
once a year,
infrequently. But they would, after school, they would stop by the bakery. They would get butter cookies and eat the butter cookies on the way home.
Nice.
Butter cookies. You guys familiar with butter cookies? like kind of like vanilla wafer.
This is why
kinda.
you need to try more things, Brandon.
What culture is butter
You
cookie
liked
from?
America. Butter cookies are delicious.
You liked the butter
Yeah.
cookies.
Yeah,
We got the
yeah.
butter cookies. We got a couple different kinds of cake. And Roman's critique of the cake, which was fair. He's like, it's okay. It's a little sweet for my taste.
It's an American cake.
And it's an American cake,
Yeah.
right? Like, and then you did say something to the effect of like all Americans like think that like the sweetest cake is the best, but that's not that.
I don't
That's
know
not
if
how
that's
it
the
is.
direction I'm on.
But
Let's strike that from the record.
We'll erase that. So where I was going with that is,
you like the butter cookies though.
Yeah.
I've felt social pressure to try something because someone singled me out, and especially in the case of it's like, hey, I made this gluten-free for you so that you could have it at this potluck or something, and I'm like, I wouldn't have chosen to eat that, but now you're standing in front of me with a plate
That's a kind
that
of
you
a-
made
That's a different
That's a
level.
specifically for
That's
me.
a trap. Yeah.
and I would feel awful to say, no, thank you, that looks disgusting.
I want to try to respond honestly if I was in a similar situation as
Sure.
you where I couldn't have that.
Yeah. And let me be clear. I respect you for being direct and clear and true to yourself. I'm just saying that that's not something that I have mastered yet.
It's also a degree of difficulty higher to when someone's offering me something, it's just like, hey, we've got this food.
Yeah.
You should eat it because it's special.
Yeah.
Right? And unless I'm the only one there, which usually isn't the case, where
Yeah.
someone is, it would only be Julie making me something, right? That it would ever be a one-on-one, like, I want you to try this. It's special to me. But if that's a special kind of hell to like,
Being singled out. Like
being single. I made you a gluten-free thing.
Yeah.
I'm being thoughtful,
Yes.
but
that's a lot.
like
but I don't
Like,
like
I
that
like
thing.
mayonnaise. Nobody freaking makes me anything.
because if
I'll
you
bring
don't
you a bowl of mayonnaise.
if you don't eat this,
No, you'll mess it up and bring me Miracle Whip.
I'm
and then I'll throw it in
I'm
your
putting
face.
the Tupperware back on,
Yeah.
and taking it home
and quitting.
and having to suck down this gluten-free pie myself.
Yeah.
Right? Or
Yeah.
my family. But maybe that will help them like respect like when they have to throw that out because it tastes like dog shit.
Well,
And they don't and
That's what all gluten-free
and it's not
things
good.
taste like,
Usually.
right? That-
Like
Yeah.
you would think that they wouldn't hold resentment for you. You would think that they would actually like be like, yeah, you know what, this is mid. Like I understand why he didn't want to eat it, but I think that sincerely people's feelings would get hurt in that situation, and I understand why you would at least try that. I would if I was in. It's hard for me to put myself in that situation because I don't think I've faced a situation like that.
Yeah.
I can't recall one.
sure.
But if it looked messed up to me, I would probably be like, "Thanks, but I'm not. I don't want to eat that."
Yeah.
So have you ever been in a situation though where you're limited to whatever these new foods are? So let's say if you're traveling, right? If you're in a new country,
Yeah.
hopefully you're there, you kind of already know what to expect. You had some thought go into like, what are we going to eat? When you travel, do you still try to stick to like what you know? Or are you like, yeah, I heard this flaming bowl of cheese and goat brain is delicious.
Brandon, it's great that we are both able to have this conversation because I think knowing you and thinking about what you just said about me, like we're the like when you're traveling and you hit an exit and everyone's peeing and you're hitting your phone for food near me, you're looking for chains.
Yes.
And
Culver's.
Yes.
that's what everyone else in my car wants me to do. And I'm like, hey, there's there's a Korean barbecue that gets 5 stars and 1,000 reviews. This is the place to go.
Yeah.
Here, it's only an hour and a half wait. Let's go.
Book it right now.
You've got to knock, and there's a back door that you knock, and there's a secret knock, and then they'll give you a shot of gin, and then and then you don't get to choose your food. They just bring a 5-course meal.
Yeah.
Everything you just said, I'm so hungry right now. I know. Like I pictured all of this, and the only thing I would have corrected you is it would have been shoju, not gin. But yeah, I'm down.
That sounds so much better.
Right.
Because gin, I know, and whatever you just said, yeah.
And there's a way to drink it too. You'd love it.
And that's the kind of I like experiences, and I like you said, adventurous eating. For you, I think, and I'll let you speak for yourself. That's
but
not
really
true.
don't. Shut up.
That's not true, right?
What's not true?
Adventurous eating.
Adventurous, like
as long as it's gluten free.
How different from do you approach that experience than how I approach it?
Well, for me, has to have gluten-free options. It has to be somewhere that my kids will eat. They're a little bit on the picky side. And convenience, right? If we drove down to Florida last year, and it was like, we don't want to go a couple miles into town just to come a couple of miles back out and then to the highway and then on our way. We're like, we want to get down to Florida. So there's a Wendy's, there's a Culver's, there's a Chick-fil-A, and then alternating all 3 of those all the way down the line because of convenience, because I know that I'm going to be able to find something to eat there, and that my kids are going to be able to find something to eat there. So that's to me, the adventure is when we get down there. The adventure,
Right.
Not along the way. This is just the period, the trip that we have to get through before our vacation starts.
So using your Florida example, then you're a frequent Disney patron.
Yeah.
Do you go to Epcot?
Yeah.
What do you eat?
Disney they accommodate for every single allergy, intolerance,
Right.
preference, whatever. So I never have a problem anywhere in the Orlando area getting something to eat.
Well, I mean,
right?
specifically though, if you go to Epcot,
Yeah.
is it called Epcot or
Yeah,
it's
Epcot.
It's
Yeah.
not the ball. What's the ball in the middle?
Spaceship Earth.
That's what it is. For some reason, I thought that was Epcot. But the whole thing about Epcot, right, is it's around the
You can
world,
eat around the world
type of thing, right?
Yeah.
And so, what do you eat there?
Oh man.
Or is there somebody like Goofy will bring you a gluten-free cookie?
I wish he would. That'd
One
be
of those
awesome.
massive turkey legs. That's what you got to get.
Oh yeah, they do. But Epcot specifically has.
Doesn't that sound good right now?
They've got festivals going pretty much all year round,
in a bread bowl, too.
where they've got these little booths set up outside of each of the different countries, and they're 5 or 6 things, and they're kind of like small plate things, but you kind of just go eat and drink your way around, and Germany.
So you do that?
Yeah.
You try stuff?
Yeah, I mean it's costly to do it everywhere, but the Mexico, ooh, that was
Well, it's
good.
because you like nachos.
Like anything
Do
Mexican.
they have nachos in Epcot, Mexico?
You know
There's
what?
an Epcot, Mexico?
There's a Mexico pavilion in Epcot.
Right.
Yeah.
Nachos not being a Mexican thing.
Right.
Well, I mean, they have
Tex-Mex.
more style taco and just
Nice.
really good,
right.
good food. They've got a France pavilion, a Germany pavilion, UK and
We've been
Morocco.
all together. haven't
Yeah,
we?
we were there for
I remember.
We hit up Mexico.
Party.
It was actually almost exactly 8 years ago.
Oh,
I had a memory that came up.
That's right. Yeah.
So, are you seeking these things out, like these experiences, then, or it kind of sounds like you're still sticking to the Epcot version of the thing that you like?
It's because I know that they've got everything printed on their signs of what things I can eat. I can go through and be like, oh yeah, I can get that, I can get that, I can get that. And so it's it's really easy for me. And I don't have to read a menu in another language and determine oh, does this have wheat in it or not? So it's easy.
Wheat is something you're allergic to. Wheat. Sorry. He said wheat.
Wheat. Wheat.
Is there an Amsterdam pavilion? There should be.
separate
make
from
one.
your allergy. Like there was a time before you knew that you had gluten sensitivity.
Yeah.
Where he was fun.
Are you a pretty boring eater anyway?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I've always been. I grew up a very picky eater. I think maybe as I get older, being more adventurous and stuff like that, I never would have tried a pickle before.
Sorry, a pickle?
A pickle. Yeah.
Just a pickle.
A pickle, right.
Oh.
I'd be like,
Yeah.
that sounds
I
gross.
don't mean to be insensitive by saying just a pickle.
Just a
I'm
pickle.
actually just trying to understand.
Yeah, no. My experience with pickles
Sometimes
is the
dinner is just pickles.
is the yucky little things that they accidentally put inside the McDonald's hamburger sometimes, and when you don't ask for them to take them off, and they're like, those are mushy and gross, and they look disgusting. So when you made the pickle jar for us to for that episode, I was a little hesitant, and then I tried it, and I was like, oh, actually this is pretty good. So because I trusted you, that it would be done right and stuff, I gave it a try. Same thing with Indian food, right? Indian food looks pretty gross, sometimes when you go to the buffet and it's just like yellow and brown
Have you had Ethiopian food?
buckets. I've not had that.
Oh, should do that.
Ethiopian food's good.
But the first time I tried Indian food, I was like, oh,
Indian food's good too.
wow, this is really good. I would have never known that had someone not forced me to go there against my will. And it's like, okay, well, I guess I'll try
Somebody
it.
dragged you to Indian food?
I think it was you. It was probably you.
I'm like, they have chicken, I promise.
I took Griffin to Swagath after he had hockey on a Friday night, and
Which is one of our local Indian places.
he was really hesitant
Yeah.
to try the food. Like I had the menu and I was describing things to him, and he's like, can we go someplace else? Like, I don't want that. And so like every good parent should, I was like, I understand. I'm just gonna order a bunch of stuff and you eat whatever the heck you want.
Oh, I thought you just shut him in the car and just went about your business.
So I ordered, like, we had this big table of food, and I was like, you don't have to eat any of it if you don't want, but if something looks good, like just eat it.
Yeah.
And he ended up trying like everything. I mean, he was crushing naan the entire time, which makes sense. But
Regular naan?
we got the naan like sampler plate where they have like the different, like the whole wheat naan, and then
Gluten-free naan?
and I don't think they had a gluten
They
free
ain't
naan.
none for you.
No.
But like
There is
there was
naan.
like a cheese naan, and then there was
the cheese naan
the
is
regular
really
naan.
surprising. I think, because it's like you don't think of that, but
But
cool,
I think
you
he
tried
was
some stuff.
I think he was hitting the regular naan mostly, but I think that is the way to do it for people that might be a little bit hesitant, but enjoy food.
Yeah.
Like, that's all right. I'm going to order a bunch of stuff and no pressure. You don't have to touch any of it. Yeah. I think the pressure to try stuff can actually create an aversion
Big time.
to wanting to have that. But I ended up taking a ton of food home, and I ate all of it eventually. Right. And I think I dropped $70 for a meal with just me and him. Yeah. Right.
And gained 20 pounds.
But that was a good experience.
Yeah, for sure.
And he wouldn't have eaten if I would have like stayed there and tried to help him pick an item off the menu that I thought he might enjoy.
Sure. The three of us were at a conference in Detroit one time, and we were trying to get some food. And then, and I was just like, oh, let's just find some barbecue food or, whatever and stuff like that. And you're like, no, let's go to this
the German place?
Jacoby's or Jacoby's or whatever, which was a German place, right? Yes. And it was like community table style, and you sit next to strangers and stuff like that. And I was like...
And we had sausages and meats.
Well, long story short, it was really, really good. I never, ever would have chosen that, right? But... because of the social situation, I was like, do that or starve or go off on my own and stuff like that. And it was really good. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting because kind of piggybacking on what Jeff was talking about, it's you're there's still some pressure, I think, right? But it's a different approach. And you're not being pressured from the sense of your earlier example of like, I made this specifically for you.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, that's weird. But giving a choice, which is what I think you were talking about, like not just saying, hey, we're going to go to this one place and you got to try this one Scotch egg thing that they have that like is the most amazing thing. I think when you approach it that way, you're kind of setting yourself as the person who's trying to get somebody to try something up for failure.
Yeah.
Because if they don't like it, then what? Right? Like, how come I like it, you don't like it? Like, I think you might start asking that kind of question. But then for the other person is the same thing. It's like, well, why do they like it and I don't like it? Type of thing. So given the choice, I think is great. And I'm guilty of totally being the way that is like, no, you got to try this one thing. And it's really good that way. And you should eat it that way too.
You really want people. I think you see yourself as a person who knows a lot about things and knows how to do things the right way. You're not pretentious about it, but it's like I'm cultured and I know these things, and because you know me, you get to share in these things, and you should partake because it's good stuff, and as soon as you do it, it'll change your life.
It's like sharing knowledge. It's like teaching. It's like, hey, I had this really good experience by doing this a very specific way and ordering this very specific thing. You should try it because it is out of this world good.
Yeah, I like that. I like the passing of knowledge.
The Griffin thing is similar.
Yeah,
but it's different in one key way.
He does not have a beard.
I haven't seen him for a while.
No, so like and it's kind of at the heart of my approach. Like I can be like that too, where it's like important for you to try this thing, and it's also important for me for you to like it. But that very rarely happens for me. Like I went to the Indian place because I wanted to eat Indian food, and I took my approach because we're not leaving because I need to eat this.
Yeah.
I want to eat this. And I got a pretty good idea that you'll be okay. If I take this approach of like, I'm being a good host, I think. Like I have a similar approach to yours, but I really was I hoping that he would like some of the food? Sure. Was I going to be heartbroken if he was like, this is not for me? No, because I'd be sitting over there crushing my stuff, and I'd be happy. I want you to be there, and I want you to have the opportunity to like these things, but ultimately, the food is important to me, and I'll be happy if I can fill my stomach, and I don't need you to like it. So there's a bit of like maybe self-centeredness in the way I go about it, but also because of that, it kind of takes an edge off of like my need to have you like the thing too. So it in a way there's a little bit less emphasis and pressure in that situation.
Yeah, I think for me it is very much the sharing of knowledge, the cultural aspect, and the food thing that I want to share as well. So I don't think I was offended. Like if people don't want to try it, like there's been very few times that I've made something for someone specifically, and they probably knew about it beforehand. I wasn't just gonna show up with a gluten-free something or other, or like if you only eat meat, well, that's easier to do. But I think I have to I've realized it early on that like if somebody just says like, oh no, I don't want to try stinky tofu, like that's fine. Like don't scare them off of other things, like don't ruin a whole cultural palette that you can potentially introduce them to just because there's one thing that they don't want to try. But like try to expose them to as much as you can, kind of like what you're talking about, Jeff. And your example is interesting to me because it got me thinking about this need for a lot of restaurants to offer a kids menu.
Yeah.
Or a kid's choice. And it's usually the same like 3 things.
Or even American food for kids at a
any
Chinese
non- yeah,
restaurant or
yeah.
something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, that always kind of gets me, right? Like, why is the Chinese restaurant's kids menu
A hamburger.
chicken nuggets, a cheeseburger, and like fries, right?
It's more cost effective to just get an entree and split it, like in most cases. Like they end up being smaller portions. They're less expensive, right? But they're it's usually not as good a food.
Yeah.
But I'm like, yeah, I very rarely go to the kids menu and think like, okay, pick one of these things off of here. I'm like, oh, you know what you might like is this. Do you want that?
Yeah.
And then if Julie's with me, oftentimes it's like, well, let's look at the kids menu. I'm like, why would we do that?
I know what's on it.
I know what's on there. That I don't want them ordering cereal. Like we can get that at home.
Yeah. You know what's interesting is for me, I don't care about the food per se. It's more about the experience and stuff. So when I got all of those seltzers for you guys to drink, it didn't matter to me if you guys liked it or not. I just thought it would be a funny
Oh, thanks,
Yeah.
man. We love you too.
experience. Well, no, but like
I get that.
The
Yeah, no, I
funny,
got it.
the funny, silly aspect of it is like, I know that you guys don't really care for this, but let's try it and just I'm curious to know what your thoughts are, how you reflect on that, and that made it memorable for me, right? And it's like, if you guys never have another one again, that's fine by me. I just wanted to do something unique.
Dude,
and
I see high noons everywhere I go now. It's ridiculous.
Do you have food or drink that's important to you? Like,
I thought you were just wanting a snack and like a drink or something. Like, what's in your fridge, man?
no, but like the way you talk about like the what, I mean, it's fuel, right? Like
Yep.
you gotta eat.
Yeah.
And preferably you eat stuff that you enjoy, but it doesn't have to be the best thing that you've ever eaten. You don't crave a variety of things.
I could eat the same thing every single day and be fine.
Nachos from Qdoba.
Nachos from Qdoba.
So it's not like you you eat it strictly for food. There's or for fuel. There's some enjoyment factor to it, but like what I wonder is like do you have like family dishes that are just like if I go to my parents' house for a holiday, like I look forward to like this thing because mom made it or dad made it, or I never drink this unless I'm with my dad.
Yeah.
Or do you
Like,
have
what
any things like
unlocks
that?
those memories for you?
The closest thing I would say is probably lumpia. You're
I've heard
familiar
you
with
tell-
lumpia?
yeah, I've heard you mention it.
It's like mini egg rolls. It's like a Filipino, thing. But like the way that my mom makes it is very Americanized because she took the recipe from my dad's family and just kind of Americanized it. And so, but that's what
She uses pancake batter.
she deep fries them.
Hamburger helper in the middle.
That's right.
Crushes up Fritos.
Yep.
That's not good, doesn't it?
It does sound kind of good. I'd eat that. But like, do I have to have it? No. It's for us, between me and my, gluten intolerance, and between, my daughter having to measure out the carbs of everything we eat,
Yeah.
meals are a hassle.
Yeah.
Right? They're more of a hassle than they are enjoyable. So it's kind of like we've got, a rotation of 6 or 7 things that is easy for all of us, all 4 of us. And we just keep plenty of those on hand and we rotate through them. We'll go out to eat, every once in a while. And we have our like safe restaurants that we go to that all of us enjoy.
You get the same things. You know what the carbs are.
Usually, but
yeah.
usually if we're going somewhere, we're doing our research first, right?
Yeah.
So it's just, there's so much behind it that, our enjoyment, or I'll only speak for myself, my enjoyment of the food isn't the food itself. It's the company, it's the experience and the conversations we're having and stuff like that. So that's me, right? It's less about the food and more about the experience, the environment, the company. That's
Do you
just me.
have, and this is for both of you, if there is a family gathering, usually, people bring dishes. More often than not, like this person is known for this dish. That person is known to bring this dish. And like, does anything like that exist in your family or gatherings? And not knowing how often you guys gather, or even if you do, is there something that someone is like, yeah, this is my thing?
Yeah, my sisters were really obsessed with like the cooking channel, the Food Network, and everything like that, and so they would always try, something new and cool and stuff like that. And one of my sisters,
and that's how you got a gluten intolerance.
Well, one of my sisters is actually gluten intolerant as well, and so as she's making these really like elaborate recipes and stuff like that, she's making it, so both of us can eat it too. So I was like, I know it's going to be good, and I know that I can have it, and it's not going to mess me up the next day. So there is a variety in that.
But it sounds like you look forward to her bringing something.
I know it's going to be good, and
you can eat it,
and I'm not going to have to worry about it. Yeah.
Oh,
So, but yeah, it's more about the experience than anything. Okay. There's not any one thing. She makes candy bacon that was really good. But everything we try new things. Yeah.
Awesome.
I'm more open to trying new things now than I probably ever have been.
Awesome. Jeff?
The question from you was, is there a dish that other people make?
Or you.
Or that I make?
Yeah.
My in-laws, like just my wife's family has like their things, and like kind of neurotic about family recipes. Not all of them. I won't name names, but
you know who you are.
There's one family member that thinks that it's important that at least one ingredient is not included in all of the recipes, so that if they ever got like misplaced and someone found them, like they'd be missing a key ingredient to making the recipe.
Wait.
Also,
I'm confused.
Not sharing recipes, like that. It's very important.
They're being secretive about it.
Yeah, it's very important to keep the family recipes. So maybe I should like talk about these examples.
No, I thought you meant like somebody hates celery and they don't want anyone to put celery in it.
No, it's more like, so Julie makes amazing banana bread, and one of the secret ingredients is nutmeg. And
the secret is out.
And well. No one else, everyone else makes the banana bread and goes, it doesn't taste the same as yours. And she's like, well, did you use nutmeg? And they're like, oh, no. And then sometimes they'll be like, yeah, I used nutmeg this time, but it doesn't taste the same. And she's like, oh, well, did you saran wrap it immediately after it came out of the oven so that it doesn't get a hard crust? It just turns into a cake consistency. And they're like, oh, no. So like, it's like this iterative process where people everyone can contribute banana bread now, and it tastes about the same. But Julie's is the league leader, in the clubhouse. So, Julie's grandma, so great grandma Wallace, who got to 100 and passed away this past year, had a huge cookbook of just all of these things. And in the entire time, I knew her at the very end of her life, like the last decade of her life, and she had retired from the kitchen at that point and was never making them herself. But like this amazing apple sheet pie that has like frosting on it, that's like that. Very much like. This
American crazy sweet thing.
I do not understand how they have something where they metabolize sugar genetically different than like
your wife's family.
Like I have been pre-diabetic, gotten blood results and said I was pre-diabetic at one point in my life, and I'm not saying that they eat unhealthy wise, but like. When I see them, it's like sugar is an added sugar is the thing. That's their vibe. But that's distracting from the point. This apple sheet pie is amazing. It's on like a full full size cookie sheet, and it's a whole pie.
Yeah.
And it tastes good, but also the size of it is impressive, and I think that matters in how it tastes, right? There's always cookies, and they again, grandma's sugar cookie recipe. Man, this thing, my understanding of sugar cookies were the kind that you get from the grocery store that are crap. Like sugar cookies are just like shitty cookies to me until I tried this sugar cookie that tasted like a piece of like amazing bread, like fresh homemade bread. And I ate one without the layer of frosting on it that everyone loves, and I was like, oh my gosh, it's so much better when it's not frosted. So I do have a situation like you.
Yeah.
I get my own box with just a raisin on top instead of all the frosting.
And they make it special for you?
What does that stand? What does that mean?
Because
you're the black sheep of the family or something? You're just the one black raisin on a cookie.
No, because I think that even though I prefer it plain without that raisin,
that's impossible.
Cookies need to have something on them, right?
You can pick it off and throw it away.
So Julie's side of the family, like everyone has their thing, and it's kind of like it is important who makes it. Like Julie needs to make the banana bread. Otherwise, they're like, the banana bread's still good, but there's something off. And it's not like anyone's upset about it. But like Julie's mom really needs to make that apple sheet pie. Like it's her in the cookies now. It was her mom's recipe, but like it's really hers now.
Yeah.
But at some point in time, it's got to transition. Because those people can't just let those things die with the people that always made them.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Is there ever a time that like your wife will come in with that banana bread thing and somebody else shows up with theirs?
Yeah, and then all of it gets eaten. Right?
There's no fight, nothing.
There is
this would be a little bit more exciting.
There is so much food at these family gatherings. It's And all these things that I listed off, like most of them are the desserts, right?
Yeah. Sounds like you guys don't eat much of anything else then.
No, well,
there's a kids menu and then there's desserts.
And then there's me where I'm like a couple Christmases ago, we all got together and I was like, I'm gonna smoke a brisket for the first time, and I did it. Wrapped it. It was resting for 3 hours. Was in the cooler. I pulled that thing out, and that thing was amazing. Like really great. I haven't made a brisket since. Yeah. Right. That's
you can't top it.
That's my approach. I'm like, what am I gonna make this time? I'm gonna do this, and I make it once, and I don't make it again. Because usually, then I think that I'm gonna like perfect it. I never do, because like. I never make a thing the same twice, because I eyeball everything and I go on feel, and I just can't follow a recipe to save my life. I'm a kitchen magician, just doing different stuff all the time, throwing stuff together.
You're not even tempted to write it down when it was like, oh, that one was really good.
It's how I can't like.
I think by that time you're just like, damn it, what the hell did I
What was that?
Yeah.
Like I don't need to. I have two siblings. I have a brother and a sister. My mom worked 2 jobs and was rarely ever home for dinner. Always bought groceries. We always had stuff in the house, and every once in a while she would like whip up some tuna noodle casserole, leave it in a dish, and we reheat it, right? And that's my dish. Yeah. Like my mom's tuna casserole that has a heavy hand, too much cream of mushroom soup probably. Noodles are a little bit short of al dente, and the chunks of tuna are like there's no cheese topping. Yeah. It's just plain Jane like
green peas.
Green peas, yep, like that kind of thing. But most nights. Like my dad would do his own. My dad never ate dinner with us. My dad would get his food, he'd go sit in front of the TV, and that's what he would do. And the 3 of us would kick it in the kitchen and like like my sister would be over in the pantry. I'd be like, okay, what you got? And she'd say, we got cans of this. And I would say, okay, like we got this in the fridge. What can we do? And we put our heads together, and it's like, okay, we can whip.
How old were you this time?
I was probably like 10, 11.
Okay.
Wow.
And you were the oldest.
I was the oldest. Yeah. And yeah, my sister and I, my brother's hard to like corral. Mm-hmm. So it's a lot of like me and my sister would be like, okay, this is what we're figuring out, and then and she's 4 years younger than me. Yeah. So like we figure this out, and then all right, Jason, like go do this. Like you open the cans. Yeah. Right. That's how I still think about food. Right.
Yeah.
Is like I'll go to the grocery. I like to go to the grocery store the day of, and some of that's influenced by when I was living in London. You don't like small apartments. You don't, and you've got markets real close by. You shop for the day, and then you make the food, and I really like that. But it's not just because of that. It's also because of this thing over there where I was always like we're not pre-planning anything, and every meal has the opportunity to be its own thing. And doesn't have to be like pull out the recipe book and follow it, to the.
You kind of like putting the puzzle together.
Yeah, it's more of like a canvas, and then like discovering what paints we got or close enough to paint. Kind of product.
It's a puzzle, but honestly, you have pieces from other puzzles in it, and you're just kind of shoving it together.
And it doesn't quite fit, so like let's trim the edges off of that one and try to make it work. So like that's how I learned that I kind of like I like pasta with beans too, right? And you can get creative about like thinning out like crushed tomatoes are so diverse. Like you can turn them into you add a little bit of, like cook up some half and half and because we
saute
and mix in a little bit of crushed tomato, and then you play around the balance of cream and tomato sauce, and it's like a different sauce every time, right? And I don't know what these seasonings are, but fuck it, let's throw this expired basil on there, right? And
expired.
It's kind of like it's what I've always done.
Yeah.
And so when it starts to get close to dinner time, I don't stress that there's nothing ready. I can go in the pantry, or I can run to the store real quick. And for me, it's always like, okay, I'm gonna get a main protein, and then I'm just gonna think about like what's around it. Like the other day, I was going for green beans, and they had Brussels sprouts in the right next to it. And I was like, well, it's Brussels sprouts tonight. And that kind of behavior ends
Jeff
up.
ate his dinner alone.
That's what happened. Yeah, like I ate.
I know how that feels.
I ate a lot of Brussels sprouts, right? But for me, it's what I know, but it's also like that's comforting to me to kind of just spin my wheels a little bit, especially when it like I start to get worried that I really don't have enough to scrap together. Like I can't really figure this out. And then all of a sudden sometimes those meals are, there's too much carbs. Sometimes those meals are like, and I prefer this. It's all protein. Yeah. But that's like, a meal can be 12 wings. Right. A meal can be, a lot of different things. And that's
box of mac and cheese.
It's interesting hearing you talk, like both of you guys, the perspective, like is kind of relatable to your answers of trying new things. Right. So it's almost, and I can relate as well, because to me, like all the things that you talked about has always been like, my mom's always been in the kitchen, and there's flavors and memories that come together. And even, 3 weeks ago or so, I was in New York, went to Brighton Beach, which was historically very Russian and Ukrainian now area, and there's grandmas on the street like selling these street food, Russian street food. And I tell you, I ate one, and it brought back like 15
Yeah.
years
Oh, yeah.
of food, and it was like the greasiest like thing ever. And it's good when you can see through the paper that it's wrapped in, and
Memories taste good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so like for me, I think that's related to that culture component. Like I want to pass that on to people.
Yeah.
Like, and yeah, it kind of sucks when you don't get the same thing. And I'm like, this is the most amazing thing ever because of this memory that I have. And people are like, this is a greasy hot pocket with chicken in it or something. And I'm like, we're not friends anymore.
Yeah.
Like whatever, kind of thing. But like seeing it also from your perspective is interesting because you're like, we're just going to try the food because that's what we've been doing. We've been putting things together and we've been trying it. And I think Brandon, kind of from your, not to like analyze you guys, but from your perspective, it's been, well, we're sticking with what we know, right? Whatever reason it is, we're going to stick with what we know.
Yeah.
But like, it's good to hear that you're becoming a little bit more adventurous. And
sure.
Tofu is gluten free, right?
I think so.
Yeah. So
I got a
stinky
bad
tofu
memory of
is gonna be go.
tofu's good. Good tofu's good, but like
But bad tofu is not good.
I had an ex that was vegan, and like I just had bad memories of the tofu that was an experience where it was like, I'm making tofu and you're going to eat it, and I'm like, why does this have the consistency of Jell-O?
Yeah.
Like this, why would you eat this instead of chicken?
Yeah.
Like,
Oh my god, I have so many ideas for like future episodes right now.
the worst thing to say to a vegan person who takes it very seriously and is wanting you to try since I've had tofu that's prepared better, and I get it.
Yeah.
Because you can make it take on the flavor that you want. Like it's very and you can give it good texture, good crisp, and like.
Yeah, but at times like it's tofu. It's not trying to be something else.
Right.
Also.
Right. Yeah. But this was like eating a cold sponge, and I ate it, and I was like, why don't
breaking up.
She's like, what do you think? And I was like, why don't you eat chicken?
Probably the last conversation you ever had with her.
No, that relationship lasted a couple more weeks. But it was that's
downhill from there.
Again, that's very much how I am.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be fearful of telling you how I feel.
Right.
I'm willing to try your food.
Yeah.
But I'm also not going to give up being who I am. Like
Right.
I'm not going to forget
You're gonna be
chicken
authentic.
exists.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you like, hey,
For sure.
kill the bird, cook it.
Right.
Tastes a lot better than what you just made.
That's right.
But I think it's cool coming to a realization that like people do come from different backgrounds, and the reason that somebody might say no could be completely different than the fact that they just don't like you or the food or whatever.
Yeah,
sure.
Experiences I think are a huge thing. For some reason, people keep coming back to like Taco Bell and other places, and it's even become a thing. Like what to expect after these things, but
Diarrhea.
you crave it somehow, and. I think it's just really for me, like it's a big thing. Like food is a huge thing. I have millions of books, reference books and cookbooks and things. I enjoy just even thinking about it and obviously eating it, but even more so, I enjoy sharing it.
Yeah.
Like, I want to like my kids eat off the damn freaking kids menu, and I don't want them to. But if you ask them what's their favorite thing, they would be like chicken and rice. And I'm like, great. As long as it's not chicken and fries.
Yeah.
I think I'm doing okay there. And they're hesitant to try things, but, my 9-year-old, she's been really good getting into spicy stuff as well. Like we do.
Good.
I think our level of spiciness of the house is higher than a lot of people that I eat with. And like, I don't taste it. To me, it's a flavor. It's not like burn your mouth type of thing.
My kids too.
Yeah.
And I think it's not a good or a bad thing, but I think that I think that the habits of the parents do translate. Even it's a do as I do, not as I said, right?
But it's cool because it's exploratory, right? Like they're trying it.
Yeah.
Right? Even they might hate it and whatever. And my 4-year-old is now thinks that everything is spicy because he tried one thing at one point, and I'm like, no, man. It's not.
He'll change.
Yeah,
yet
for sure.
still.
Especially with you two
when
as
we're doing
parents, right?
when we're doing this episode in 10
To be
years.
clear, not us two as parent. We don't co-parent.
I'm not gonna
we could.
put labels on anything.
Gosh, that actually would
so
be a
many
good idea.
Crocs.
Let's
We
just
would have
put
Crocs
them
in
all in one place.
Yeah.
And then just take turns.
Well, my daughter would probably just start.
Your
ruining
daughter
it.
would do. Your daughter and my oldest son would probably not get along after a while, or be best friends.
Yeah, who knows?
Because Griff.
We'll have him do a podcast.
Ultimately, Luna sounds like she's got more. That's another time. That's another thing.
Well, what I do appreciate about you bringing this up is the cultural aspect of it, right?
Yeah.
Because you growing up in Eastern Europe, your wife growing up in
Taiwan.
and then
right
coming here. What's that?
You got the right one.
I knew.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I wasn't going to say Thailand. But and then coming here
Yeah.
to America, and also you guys travel,
Yeah.
internationally quite a bit and stuff like that. So to you, it's just a part of life trying all of these different things, and it's an exciting part of life, right? And
I will say I tried McDonald's first in Moscow.
yeah.
So
What did you think?
That was it was amazing. And then you come here and you realize you have it every day. And
Yeah.
it's just like
When he started describing the pickle, I thought of the ketchup and the chopped up onions next to it, and I started tasting that thing.
Gross.
no, man. Single regular cheeseburgers from McDonald's, man. The chopped up onions. I don't know what memory it unlocks, but I love it.
Really?
I it's not like I crave it and I need to have it, but when I'm like, McDonald's is usually a thing where I'm like, I got it. It's here.
Yeah.
Right. But I will admit the smell, like, it is highly manufactured food. It is very specific.
Yeah.
And it's very consistent from place to place.
Yep.
And yeah, I eat that and I'm just like I'm in like 1991.
Yeah.
And I can see the play place and I'm swimming through the balls, right? Like it's
right.
just it's a very specific taste and it's consistent.
Maybe that's what it is. Maybe my very first McDonald's experience in Moscow was a regular cheeseburger. I think I always romanticize that it's a Big Mac.
Yeah.
Because that is like, to me, that's the
remember my
McDonald's
first Big
thing,
Mac.
right? I think I remember my first McDonald's Big Mac in the U.S. already. And ever since then, I'm like, I feel like they've gotten smaller. Because I feel like the Big Mac used to be like half your face.
Yeah.
You couldn't, like, you had to take it apart and then eat it separately.
Yeah.
And you couldn't do it otherwise. Now it's like 3 bites and it's gone.
Yeah.
I don't know.
They've
if it's
gotten
me.
smaller and we've gotten bigger.
Yeah, that's what it is. But I keep coming back to that, just the regular cheeseburger from McDonald's. And specifically, I've narrowed it down. It is the combination of the ketchup and the chopped up onions.
Yeah.
I was somewhere on Middle Belt, some McDonald's off of Middle Belt, on the way to a Red Wings game.
Yeah.
And me and my dad stopped off at McDonald's, and he was like,
I'm going to blow your mind.
He was like, "Do you want to try a Big Mac?" I was like, "What is it?"
Yeah.
Like, "Oh, like you're a big kid now. You don't need to eat kids meals. Like, you should have this Big Mac." And I was like, "Well, hell yeah, because I'm not a kid.
Yeah.
Right.
Give me that thing."
It's like a rite of passage.
I remember just being in the dark
Yeah.
in the back of the car, just mowing this Big Mac thing,
Yeah.
right? And
Trying to figure out that middle bread sliding out the back and everything.
it's perfectly timed, man. I was on the way to something I loved, like unique experience, and like so much so that like I think I was like maybe like 6 or 7. And I remember it was off of Middle Belt, right?
Yeah.
Right. I don't remember exactly what city it was in, and I couldn't take you back to it, but I knew the street.
Yeah.
That's funny. So I guess overall, honestly, kind of sounds like maybe those of us who want those of you to try new things is because we want you to make new memories.
Big time.
And
be part of that.
Yeah, we want to share that with you. So don't say no, and just try it, like you said. And going back to a previous episode, this is the guy who took a Coors beer.
Coors Light.
Coors Light.
Yeah.
That's true.
Because somebody got it for him.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's full circle to the start of the episode, so we probably end it here. If you can apply the slightest bit of peer pressure to this guy, he will try whatever you want him to eat or drink.
Never done cocaine, but nobody's asked me.
And next time. But for me, I mean, as much as like I talked about the experience of when I'm the food guide.
Yeah.
I much prefer being the passenger.
The eater.
I that's it's not the only reason why you and I get along, but like when we can be in a city together and like seek out like okay, yeah, what's the place where we have to go to?
Right.
Not the place where everyone wants to go to, but like where's that place that's like we think it's going to have good food, unique food, and probably like a quirky enough like setup.
We'll have a story.
Yeah, to where it's going to be, someone's probably going to have to take a knife out.
I was just going to mention.
Right?
Next episode's pocket knives.
But for me, absolutely. Like, with the exception of like, I will say no if I think something doesn't check those boxes. If you're selling me a bag of goods and I think that really what you're overhyping something that's pretty basic and not worth my time, like. And the potluck situation is like the quintessential one of that. Like,
I call in sick those days.
Otherwise, you get sick, right?
I could get sick.
You could get sick from that stuff.
Well, also one year, I found cat hair in the meatballs that someone served, and that was the last time.
The secret recipe.
I know.
But I
Secret
am
ingredient.
absolutely open. I am absolutely open to like being someone's passenger on their food voyage like that.
But I do think, Brandon, in your case though, like maybe if people stop thinking about like what limits you have in trying new things and using them more as guidelines to helping you try new things, because I'm just kind of going back to like, oh, we have people who are gluten intolerant, let's get some gluten-free pizzas. That, I mean, you're not letting anybody try anything new. Like, you're just kind of going like, this is a box that they're going to fit in.
No, instead of pizza, I'm going to make some pork, right?
Yeah.
Like, oh, Brandon can't have, I'm not going to find a gluten alternative for a frickin' bun. I'm going to go to something that's amazing in its like in its final form, right? Instead of its bastardized one.
Yeah.
But you got to be open though. Don't be the
totally
guy that's
open
like,
now.
where's the gluten-free option?
Yeah. No, I mean, I think
Unless it's amazing cauliflower crust or something like
sometimes
that, right?
it is.
Like,
you don't know. Yeah. But I feel like I am wanting to try more things now. The pickle jar being like the catalyst for that, of like, oh, this was actually good, and I've been avoiding it my whole life. What else am I missing?
You'll be disappointed though if you go.
Probably,
Yeah.
probably. But
Just only homemade pickles.
I'm
good
seeking
gateway,
out.
though.
Yeah, I'm
Like-
seeking out. I'll try things.
It's not like
Brandon's
the
first
highest
tattoo is
high,
going to be
right?
like a homemade pickle.
Ooh,
There you
no,
go. Next episode.
make me like getting a tattoo of a pickle.
I'm down.
All right,
Cool.
cool.
Hey, well, thank you guys for entertaining me and making me extremely hungry
I'm really hungry
talking
too.
about all this. And
I'm going to go to McDonald's.
Let's go to McDonald's.
we could walk there.
We
It's gonna be
could,
Great.
yeah.
There's a story there, but sounds like it's safe to say we're gonna like trying new things.
Yes, especially from other cultures.
Yeah.
And being open to it, and but not succumbing to peer pressure if we don't want to.
Yeah. And don't make things specifically for us if we didn't ask you to.
That's right, because it just makes it awkward. Sounds good. Well, thanks, Roman. If you watched it this long, you have to have liked it. So please hit the like button down below, and it helps us out with the YouTube algorithm. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
I don't know why I pointed.
Over there. They're over there and there. Are you
Just
there?
the
Which one
fun.
are you?
Hey.